blessed day. Welcome back to my channel. My name is TatiV, and if you're a true crime lover like me, go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Any and everything is welcome except negativity. Negativity is not welcome here. I post very interesting true crime stories every Monday and Fridays, ASMR style, and now I will be introducing Freaky Friday. What is Freaky Friday, you ask? Well, on this channel every Friday we're going to discuss all things freaky, freak accidents, freak deaths, decapitation, cannibalism, and brutal crime scenes. To kick off Freaky Friday, we're going to discuss Ed Gein. Now, Ed Gein did some heinous things back in the day, so I'm not even going to get into it right now. We're just going to go ahead and get straight into the video. And my Freaky Friday videos are a little more graphic than the videos that I will post on Mondays, so these videos are for mature audiences only, and I will say a disclaimer coming up now. Warning, this content is for educational purposes only. Some viewers might find this disturbing. Parental discretion is advised. Edward Gein was born on August 27th, 1906, to parents George Philip Gein and Augusta Gein in Plainfield, Wisconsin. He was the second of two boys, and he had an older brother named Henry George Gein. Edward had a difficult childhood. His father was an alcoholic, and his mother was verbally abusive. Ed's father was unsuccessful at keeping a stable job. He had several jobs over the years as a carpenter, tanner, and insurance salesman. His father also owned a local grocery store at one time, but he sold the business. The family moved away to a rural area on a 155-acre farm in the town of Plainfield, Wisconsin. Ed's mother was very deeply religious and would get rid of anyone who she thought had a negative influence on her sons. She would even punish him if he attempted to make friends. She instilled in her boys that drinking was bad and women other than herself were promiscuous and a part of the devil. She would spend every afternoon reading them parts of the Bible that had to do with death, murder, and divine retribution. Ed was only allowed to leave the farm to attend school. He would spend majority of his time helping out on the farm. According to his classmates, he was described as shy. He portrayed strange mannerism and would randomly laugh out loud. Even though he had poor social development, he did very well in school, especially in reading. On April 1st, 1940, Edward's dad died of heart failure at the age of 66 that was caused by his alcoholism. Ed and his brother began working odd jobs to help cover living expenses. That included them being handymen, and Ed babysat for people around the community. People would describe them as overall being honest and reliable people. On May 16th, 1944, Henry and Ed were burning low-growing shrubs when the fire got out of control. When the firefighters were able to put the fire out, Ed reported his brother missing. When the community went to search for Henry, they found his body laying face down. Apparently, he was dead for a couple of days. His cause of death was heart failure, since he was not burnt or injured. Later on, according to a biographer, they reported that Henry did have bruises on his head. The police ignored the possibility of foul play and changed his cause of death to asphyxiation. Authorities agreed to this cause of death and never did a full investigation or autopsy. Now Ed and his mother were alone on the farm. Sometime in 1945, Ed recalled him and his mother going to visit a man named Smith, who lived not too far from them, to buy straw. Ed recalled his mother witnessing Smith not because Smith was beating the dog, but because there was a woman that was staying with Smith. Ed's mother told Ed that she wasn't allowed there because Smith and the woman weren't married. She called the woman a harlot, which means a prostitute or a whore. Ed's mother's health started deteriorating very rapidly. She had his second stroke and died at the age of 67 on December 29th, 1945. He was completely shattered by the loss of his mother. According to an author, he, quote, lost his only friend and one true love, end quote, and was completely alone in the world. Shortly after her death, Ed decided he wanted to have a sex change. He pretended that he was a female by creating a, quote, woman suit, end quote. Now Ed is staying alone on the farm. He boarded up the rooms that his mother previously used, the upstairs, downstairs, and living room. Ed stayed in a smaller room next to the kitchen. To support himself, he worked as a handyman. He started reading pulp magazines that mostly involved cannibals and Nazis. He partially sold 80 acres of land that Henry had owned. Ed kept the advice that was instilled in him by his mother and never left home or dated a woman. After her death, he went insane. On December 8th, 1954, Mary Hogan was attacked. Ed waited for all of her customers to leave at a tavern where she worked in Pine Grove, Wisconsin. Ed returned inside. As the store was closing, Mary informed Ed that they were closed, but he did not say anything. He walked over to her and pulled a .32 caliber pistol, put it to her head and pulled the trigger, which killed her instantly. He dragged her body outside to a sled. It took several hours to drag Mary's body back to his farm. The next day, police discovered overturned furniture and a pool of blood behind the barn. It took police 3 years to identify Mary's killer because she basically vanished without a trace. No missing person report was made and they assumed she possibly just ran off. On November 16th, 1957, 58-year-old Bernice Warden went missing from a hardware store where she worked in Plainfield, Wisconsin. A witness reported that they seen the hardware store truck leave from the back of the store at around 9:30 a.m. Bernice's son, Frank Warden, who was also a deputy sheriff, came to the store at 5 o'clock p.m. and saw the cash register was left open and blood stains were on the floor. Frank told investigators that Ed was in the store that evening, right before his mother disappeared, and Ed stated that he would be back the next morning for antifreeze. Detectives found the receipt written by Bernice for antifreeze right before she disappeared. Ed was arrested at a local grocery store, and the sheriff's department searched the farm. When authorities searched the farm, they discovered Bernice's decapitated body in a shed. She was hung upside down by her legs, with a crossbar at her legs, and her wrists were bound together. She was shot with a .22 caliber rifle. While searching the farm, authorities discovered human bones and fragments, a trash can made out of human skin, skulls on his bedpost, human skin covering multiple chair seats, female skulls, a corset made from a female torso, skin from shoulders to waist, leggings made from human skin, mask made from skin of female heads, Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag, Mary Hogan's skull in a box, Bernice's entire head in a burlap sack, Bernice's heart in a plastic bag in front of Ed's stove, a belt persons, then immediately disposed afterwards. Ed typically went after middle-aged women because they reminded him of his mother. His killing span lasted from 1954 to 1957. After his arrest, when Ed was questioned, he confessed that between 1947 and 1952, he dug up 9 graves from local cemeteries. He would take the bodies home, tan their skin to make paraphernalia. He denied having any intercourse with the bodies. He stated, quote, "They smelled too bad," end quote. Ed led police to the cemeteries. They didn't believe that he could be capable of digging up a grave, so when they checked 2 of the graves, the bodies were gone. Allegedly, while Ed was in questioning, police would physically assault him during questioning. They would take Ed's head and face and slam it on the brick wall. This caused his confession to be invalid. One of the sheriffs, Art Sheely, died shortly after testifying at his trial due to a heart attack. Several people claimed that Art was very traumatized by the horror of Ed's crime, and hearing about this and also testifying may have had a big factor in Art's death. On November 21st, 1957, Ed was prosecuted on 1 count of first-degree murder, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. He was found mentally unstable to stand trial and was sent to the Central State Hospital for criminally insane. He was later transferred to a maximum security facility in Waupun, Wisconsin, and was again transferred to the Mendota State Hospital. In 1968, it was determined that Ed was fit to stand trial. On November 14th, 1968, the trial began, which lasted 1 week. He was found guilty of first-degree murder. He was still considered legally insane, so he spent the rest of his years in a mental hospital. On March 20th, 1958, Ed's house caught on fire and burnt to the ground. His response, he shrugged and stated, quote, "Just as well," end quote. That same year, his car that was also used to transport the bodies of his victims was sold at a public auction for $760, which is equivalent to $6,700 today. A carnival sideshow operator, Bunny Gibbons, brought the car and charged people 25 cents to see it. On July 26, 1984, Ed Gein died at the age of 77 due to respiratory and heart failure due to cancer at the Mendota Mental Health Institute. He is buried at the Plainfield Cemetery next to his family. His grave was vandalized several times over the years. In 2000, his whole gravestone was stolen and was later recovered in June of 2001 near Seattle. It is now at a museum in Washoe County. If you have any stories that you would like for me to cover for the next episode of Freaky Friday, leave them in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed this type of content, go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and turn your post notifications on so you'll know when I upload a video. Let me know in the comments how you all feel about Freaky Friday. Was it off to a good start? Let me know down below, and also let me know down below how you felt about this story and about the video itself. I'm asking you all to do a lot. I just thought about that. It was just so crazy how much information was, negative information was instilled in him by his mother. His mother already introduced him into a negative outlook on women itself. So I think he did that to those middle-aged women because he had some sort of resentment to his mother and he didn't know how to express it. So the only way he expressed it is by harming people who resembled his mother. Thank you all for watching again. Stay safe, stay blessed, and